Cheese, which is great. More with Luke just after 11:30. Now, next on the programme, Rosie Feeblecorn from Suffolk was just 14 years old when she developed anorexia nervosa during lockdown in January 2021. But the good news is she's fully recovered and is living her best life. Many are not so lucky, and many suffer for years and years, and both their families struggle as well and fighting this on a day-to-day basis. It's Eating Disorder Awareness Week this week, and earlier Rosie and her mum Victoria chatted to me about their story. They're hoping to raise awareness of this life-changing affliction. I started by asking Rosie, when did she realise things weren't quite as they should be?
Well, I think I started going running and then started watching what I was eating, trying to just lose a bit of weight, but then I kept losing it and it kind of got out of control. And it obviously wasn't good for me, but it made me feel better, like the lower weight I got, and feel better about myself. So I think that's why I did it.
Would you mind me asking how much you weighed?
I think my lowest was 35 kilograms.
How about when you first started thinking you needed to lose weight? How much were you at your when you started suffering with this?
I think I can't really remember. Like 6.5 stone.
Oh.
So she was never ever a big girl at all.
This is the point. This is the point. I like people to understand. So you're out running, and you're losing weight. But surely, Rosie, you must have known while you were losing weight because you weren't eating enough.
Yeah.
So was this something you tried to hide from Mum?
But yeah, I guess I did. I tried to make her so she didn't know that anything was going on.
What would you eat in an average day?
Well, I'd restrict myself, so I only had breakfast, lunch, and supper. But they were very light meals, and I'd weigh out my breakfast and try to have least as possible.
Did you think that was normal behaviour at the time?
Yeah, at the time, definitely.
Let's bring Mum in. Victoria, you probably noticed that Rosie was losing weight. Did you have the conversation with her?
I did. Well, we talked more about, not so much about her weight, because she was running and she was running with me. And so it's expected that runners are lean. But it was more the way that she was restricting her food. So it was the build-up to Christmas. It was around about December 2020. And the rest of us were enjoying the treats that we all enjoy as a part of normal Christmas. And Rosie wasn't. She wasn't having a single chocolate. And I would notice that she was, with her meals, she was eating the bare minimum. She would always make sure that she had quite considerably less than the rest of us. And yeah, she was weighing out her breakfast. So it was more, rather than actually her weight, it was more her attitude. And I remember one night we had a conversation, and I said, I think we need to take you to the doctor. And she said to me, and I can remember her little face looking up at me from the pillow, she said, do you think I've got an eating disorder? And at the time I said, I don't know. And I didn't really know. But we went to the doctors in very early January, and luckily he referred us urgently to the eating disorder clinic. And sure enough, it wasn't long before she had the diagnosis of anorexia nervosa.
Yeah.
Why do you think you had anorexia? What triggered it, do you think?
I'm not really sure, but I think the fact that I thought I was going to gain weight just because I wasn't doing football anymore. Because at first, I was just sad that I couldn't play football. But then I think I overthought it and just was worried that I was going to gain weight from not doing exercise.
When you looked in the mirror, when you'd had a shower or a bath like we all do,
Yeah.
what did you see?
Well, I saw myself. I didn't think I was different, but I just thought I might look better if I lost some weight. But there was also a lot of influence from social media, like TikTok, about losing weight and stuff like that.
And that's really sad. We've heard many times of the dangers of body image on these kind of social media platforms. So
Yeah.
as a young teenage girl, you definitely felt that pressure to keep your weight
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Did you ever make yourself sick, Rosie?
No.
You just didn't eat an awful lot.
Yeah, I just restricted and exercised, which was my way instead of throwing up to lose weight.
Were you both relieved when you went to the doctor and you got the diagnosis?
No, terrified. Absolutely terrified. When she got the diagnosis, I mean, it wasn't immediate, but it was... We realised that it was anorexia nervosa before we had the official diagnosis, and they were treating her as though it was anorexia nervosa. And there are some terrifying statistics around fatalities with young people and anorexia nervosa. So it was terrifying for me. What did you think, Rosie?
I was just not really sure what to think of it, because obviously I didn't want to gain weight, but I knew that I had to at the time. So
it's so damaging because that lack of food and nutrition in your body affects all your major organs, doesn't it?
yeah. How
did you start to get better from this then?
Well, I didn't want to get better, but Mum we gradually...
Why didn't you want to get better?
Because I liked at the time how I was, and I didn't want to gain weight. Yeah.
Were you poor? Were you poorly at all, Rosie? Did you have lack of energy? Were you suffering with fatigue?
No, not really. My hands got really sore and swollen, and my circulation wasn't very good. But I didn't feel ill at all.
And that's probably more dangerous than if you had have been feeling ill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Victoria, as Rosie's mum, if you hadn't spotted this and intervened, goodness knows what could have happened.
Absolutely. I mean, it's terrifying. And when we first went to the clinic, they said that there's a number of benchmarks that people meet for admission to hospital, and they could have admitted her. And I said, no, leave her at home with me. I will feed her. As Rosie was saying, she didn't want to get better, and that's one of the classics of anorexia nervosa. They want to be smaller, and they are never, ever small enough. And that's how the anorectic mind works.
As a mum, you had to make Rosie eat, force Rosie to eat more. Rosie, that must have been extremely difficult for you.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Can you talk us through those early days of having to eat?
Well, because I knew, I'd worked out all the calories and everything in it, and I was just afraid of eating it. And every food that I was, made to have, I just tried to resist it as much as I could.
You had nightmares because of it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Victoria, how did you deal with Rosie when she was this upset, crying and having terrible dreams because you were making her eat and she didn't want to?
Absolutely. It felt like child abuse. A lot of the time it felt like child abuse. I was causing her so much distress, but at the same time I knew that the only way I was going to save my beautiful girl was by feeding her. And so I just had to harden my heart. And there were times when I really, really focused on that, on hardening my heart. I gave up all hope of really feeling happy again. I just focused on becoming, in the words of Pink Floyd, comfortably numb.
Did the doctors tell you, Rosie, that if you didn't eat, you could die?
Yeah, lots of times.
But you just didn't listen to that. You just weren't bothered.
No.
It's really hard for people to get their head around. That's how deep this mental issue goes, I think, with anorexia nervosa. What was people's reaction around you, like from family and friends?
They were very supportive. We've always been really open about mental health and believe that that's a healthy way to live. And so we didn't hide it. We told, Rosie's football team when grassroots football was opened up again, we said, sorry, Rosie is not able to come back at the moment because she has anorexia nervosa. And they were fine. They were lovely and supportive. Actually, her football manager at the time was quite, looking back, we did laugh because he just turned around and said, send her to me. I'll give her a burger, which was, it was one of those things that people say, and again, it goes back to the misconceptions. You get grandmothers saying, I'll bake a delicious chocolate cake. Not that my mother said that to her, but, you hear of this. It's all vanity, and if you give them food that they like, they'll eat. It's absolutely not the case at all. They will not eat unless you force them.
You must have cried yourself to sleep yourself many times, Victoria, as well, wondering if Rosie would ever get better.
Absolutely. And many a time in my dreams, I would hear her crying out, asking me to stop.
When did things start to turn a corner then, Rosie? When did you begin to realise that you needed to eat to stay well? When did you see the light at the end of the tunnel, really?
Well, my grandparents paid for a private psychologist, and at first she didn't really help me, but over time I think that was one of the main things that really helped me get through this. But kind of the turning point was actually when we went on holiday, and I kind of just realised that life is better than this, and if I want to get better, then I need to eat, and I do want to get better. So that's why I.
And let's here we are in March 2022. Just over a year ago, you were going through this. Do you now physically feel better and love yourself more than you did back then?
Definitely.
And what's your relationship like with food now?
It's fine. I eat normally. I love eating.
You've got your appetite back. You actually enjoy food now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Yeah. It's amazing. She's just a normal, healthy, happy, stroppy teenager who enjoys all the things that everybody should enjoy. The delicious ice creams, the chocolates, cakes and sweeties, but also the nutritious, healthy meals. There is no trace of anorexia nervosa with her at all. We're very, very lucky.
Is it quite weird when you see Rosie tucking into a meal? It must make you feel happy.
Oh my goodness, it does. It does. Although she's been recovered, she was signed off by the psychiatrist in November, so we're no longer under the mental health care team.
Right, great.
So it's been a few months now, so we're kind of getting used to it. So we don't really think back to it too much, other than when we are doing things like this and raising awareness. It makes you reflect.
Rosie?
Yeah.
You do know your mum's 1 in a million, don't you?
Yeah.
I'm sure I don't have to tell you that. What an amazing family. If it wasn't for your family, goodness knows what could have happened. And I know you're in a good place at the moment. You've got your mock exams at the moment, haven't you?
Yeah.
And what would you like to be?
I want to be a professional footballer.
Oh, wow. Who do you play for at the moment?
I play for Stowe Upland and I Saints, but and I play for Ipswich, but I'm going into Ipswich post-16 after school.
Brilliant. You'll be watching the West Ham game in a couple of weeks then.
Yeah.
That'll be great. Good on you, Rosie. It's very easy to sit here and judge people and say the pressure you put your mum through, but it's an illness, and like all illnesses, it has to be treated, and you need a support network around you. Mum, Victoria, you say mums like you who face this anorexia nervosa, you call them mother warriors, don't you?
I do, yes. Yes. It's not an official term or anything like that, but it really is like fighting a war. Obviously, that's probably quite inappropriate to say with everything that's going on in Ukraine at the moment, but it really did feel like a battlefield. Every meal was a battle, and I know every parent, not just mothers, but every parent and carer up and down the land who is doing this, they will know what battle feels like when they are feeding their children.
It's a worry, isn't it, though, for people who are going through this that haven't got loved ones, family, relatives who are there to care and support for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's why charities like Beat and Wednesday's Child are both amazing charities. And we were very lucky to be put in touch with a lady similar to me this time last year who had been through this with her daughter. And that was through Beat, the eating disorder charity. And that's why I'm running the London Marathon for Beat later on this year.
Yeah, well done. I read that here, yeah. In October, you're running the London Marathon. Because you are a runner, of course. So this will be easy for you, is it?
Well, I don't know about that. I'm 53 years old, and my longest distance is only about 10 miles.
Oh, wow.
So I've got to increase that a bit.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge, but you'll absolutely smash it. Victoria, thank you for coming on today. It's not easy, but I must especially thank you, Rosie. And the reason I say that is when people hear this and they hear your words, they'll be able to relate to that more than what your mum had to say. Your mum's coming at it from a parent's perspective, and I'm a parent. I've got a daughter 20, and I understand what your mum's been through to some degree.
Yeah.
But someone suffering with this, with what you said about the pressure from the social media and the fact that you knew it was going to make you ill, but you still didn't want to wait, I think those are very powerful words that will really resonate with people. So thank you for talking today as well.
You're welcome.
The both of you then have a happy, healthy life. Good luck with your exams. Good luck with your marathon run. And it's been an absolute delight talking to you. And let's hope, and I'm sure we have, raised awareness of this terrible, terrible condition, anorexia nervosa, on Eating Disorders Week. Victoria and Rosie, I thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on.
And if that struck a chord with anybody, that you can get some more help and advice by going to bbc.co.uk/action line. There's a list of numbers for all kinds of issues that you can find there. bbc.co.uk/action line. 11